Platforms obsess over completion rates, but what they're not telling you is that completion doesn't mean that your students are learning anything. I'm Dr. Katrina Mitchum, and I've been designing and redesigning courses online since 2009. So, when platforms are talking about completion, what they're measuring is consumption. So, did they watch the videos? How much of the videos did they watch? Have they clicked through the lessons? Have they hit complete and continue before watching the video? They're also assuming that your content is video based when it doesn't have to be. Or maybe your course is like mine and you have multiple ways to consume the content. Mine is written, it's in video, and it's audio. Pick your poison. At best, the platforms are measuring memorization, right? Some platforms do have quizzes built in, but if there's a quiz, it's very soon after they've consumed the content. And so what that's measuring is, did they remember it long enough after the video, or did they watch the video enough to recall that information, but it's too close, right? Remembering information requires spaced recall. And if your course is just designed around remembering information and they're not doing anything with it, then they're not going to reach the goals that they came to your course for. And that points us in the direction of what the platforms don't actually measure. They don't measure if the student took the knowledge and applied it. Are they doing the doing? Can they recall it and use it weeks later in a different context? That transfer, that is what you're looking for when you're teaching someone something. Did they get the results that they came for, the transformation that your course was supposed to promise them? So we have a completion does not equal action problem in these course platforms, especially because they're focusing on completion rates as a core metric. In the last video, I talked about how that metric is sometimes how they're trying to sell additional features. But when completion just means watched all the videos or clicked through all the lessons, it says nothing about actual learning, applying the knowledge, getting results, moving forward. People buy courses because they want a change. It can't measure that change. They are not measuring that change. I personally have bought courses, gone through and watched all the videos. I could not tell you today what the course was about. Didn't learn anything, didn't apply anything. And I'm a pretty self-sufficient learner. Like, I'm pretty intrinsically motivated, but none of the information was clearly applicable. They weren't helping me make that jump from information to actually doing something with it. But by the course completion rates in the platform, I'm a success story. But I don't think I'm a success story. Platforms are conflating the two things. Okay, so why are platforms doing it this way? Are they all evil? No. Completion is just easy to measure, right? Did they click the button? We can measure that. Did they answer the question? We can measure that. Learning is harder to measure. Action is even harder to see in a platform. Did they actually do something with the information they were given that may help them make a change? Transformation and transfer, so that is the application and long-term shifting that starts in your course and continues to happen afterwards. That is even harder to measure. That, again, is something where you have to ask them whether or not these things are happening for them. So platforms measure what's easy to measure, which is fine. But the problem is that they then pretend like that is the end all be all of what matters in a course. They say track student progress, but what they're really saying is track consumption. There is value in knowing, like, hey, this student hasn't logged in. We should do some outreach. Absolutely. But assuming that someone is being successful because they watched all the videos or clicked all the buttons, that's a problem. The other thing that they're doing is conflating quizzes with assessment, right? And so quizzes are a form of assessment, but the best way that quizzes function is self-assessment, right? And so that needs to be self-driven, and it also needs to be where they're taking it at a time that is spaced out enough. Okay, that's not typically how the quizzes are set up to function in a course platform, right? They are embedded in a particular lesson, not necessarily pulled in at a later time. So these platforms are implying that quizzes are a learning measure. When you have it too close, you're just testing short-term memory, not the kind of memory that you need to later implement it. We need spaced repetition. So can they remember the information a week later, a month later? And we need application, right? Those are the two big things that we need for real learning to happen. Can they use it in a real situation? Not just answering multiple choice questions. Platforms aren't doing this because one, it is harder to build. It does take longer to measure, and the results actually expose poor course design. So they're giving you a quiz to give at the end of a lesson and calling it engagement. So what they're not telling you when they give you these numbers about completion rates is that completion rates don't account for the quality of the learning experience. So 70% completion sounds super impressive, but did those 70% actually learn? Did they get results? Did they reach the goals? Did they apply the thing? Platforms don't know, and so they don't they don't actually measure that. That's not part of the completion information they're giving you. The other piece of context that they're missing is that they profit whether your course succeeds or not, right? You're paying them whether your clients get what they need or not. So when you pay your monthly fees, they make money. When you upgrade for features, they make money. When you increase your prices, they make money from transaction fees. Your student success is your problem. So they measure the things that benefit them. This is a false sense of engagement, time on the platform, not what actually benefits you, which is your client's results. The third contextual piece that they're missing is what actually drives learning and transformation. So clear goals, not analytics dashboards. Well-scaffolded content, not gamification badges. Gamification is great, but you have to have a solid foundation to build it on. Action-based activities, not passive video watching. Spaced practice and application, not one-time quizzes. Support when they're stuck, not just automated emails. And good instructional design instead of flashy platform features, right? Those are the things you need versus the thing they're offering. The things that they're offering are not actually driving the learning. So platforms are measuring what's easy, watching, clicking, passing quizzes. They're telling you that it means the things that matter. Learning, action, results. Those are the things that matter. But there's a disconnect between what they're measuring and what actually matters. And the features that they sell, like the quizzes, the gamification, the progress tracking, the certificates, are really measuring consumption and memorization, which is not how learning works. So we've seen that they conflate completion with action, they conflate memorization with learning, and they conflate engagement with transformation, right? And they use these conflated and inflated completion statistics to sell you expensive features that don't actually address the real problem, which is poor instructional design. So what matters instead? I've touched on this a little bit throughout this video, but I'm going to give you a good summary of it. The things that matter are, did students complete the activities, not just watch the videos? Can they apply concepts in real situations? Did they get measurable results for them? Would they recommend the course because it worked? Are they using what they learned weeks and months later? Those are kind of 5 core questions that you can ask to really start to measure what matters. They are harder to measure, but you can do it through feedback mechanisms, and it's worthwhile because it actually is what will give you the information about whether or not your course is successful. If you are ready to build courses that create actual learning and transformation and not just high click rates, I've got the Course Maker membership linked in the description box, where I teach you the actual instructional design that works.